welcome to Relationship Realities with
Roland
and Reyna. We're going to give you a little funny, a little crazy, and a whole lot of reality.
Welcome back, listeners.
Welcome back, guys.
Yeah, if you're new over here, if this is your first episode, be sure to stick around. You're going to have some fun, and you'll probably learn a thing or two.
Hopefully, yes.
Yeah. Also, stick around to the end, because we're going to give some details about a giveaway we've got going on.
Yes.
So today's episode, we're going to go over the poll that we had from a few weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Right? Pretty interesting results. And then we're going to move into our discussion for this podcast, which is dating in the workplace.
Dun, dun, dun.
Right? And then, as always, we're going to wrap it up with our advice and our thoughts on the whole topic. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah. So a few weeks ago, we talked about communication and the thought of checking in, so to speak.
Yes.
So we wanted to put it out to our listeners to see what they thought. So we put up a poll on our Facebook page and invited all of our listeners to give us their thoughts and to answer either yes or no. And the question simply was, do you think that you should check in with your partner during the day? And it was a pretty overwhelming result. The 71% said yes, and 29% said no. And I think that was pretty much in keeping with what we thought.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
One of the interesting comments that we got was from Pam, and she says, it's a respect thing. You tell others where you're headed. You don't just leave and not say anything.
Yeah, that definitely supports what we were saying, at least what I was saying.
Absolutely.
You know, and I think that I didn't want to come across, right, as you have to check in and check in with every single movement that you're making.
Like I'm on a GPS bracelet.
That's not what I was trying to say. What I was trying to say is exactly what Pam was saying.
Right.
It's not a check-in thing. It's almost like check up on.
Right.
Right. So
just interact with.
With, ask how your day is going. Talk about, whatever you want to talk. Yeah. What's for dinner, about the podcast or whatever, what we talk about. So yeah, the poll definitely reflects all that. So I think it went, the right way.
That poll was definitely pretty fun, and it was nice to interact with our listeners, and we will definitely be having more polls throughout our podcast episodes. So we'll be letting you guys know when we put up our next one, because like I said, we're very curious to hear what your thoughts are and to interact with you, and we love being able to talk about you guys on the air.
Oh, absolutely.
So this episode, we're going to be talking about dating in the workplace. And this episode was a little bit more difficult to prepare for.
Yeah.
And I think the main reason is Roland and I have basically the same thoughts on this topic. So we both had to do a little bit of research to kind of figure out if we were just being one-sided or, if there were other aspects that we weren't considering, because we wanted to make sure that we looked at it from different angles and we wanted to be as impartial as possible. And, through the articles that we read and the research that we did, it was some pretty interesting things that we found out.
Absolutely. So my opinion, I guess, collectively,
ours,
opinion, is that it is frowned upon. It's not a good thing.
Right.
Right. It's just there's too many things that come attached with dating.
There's
in
too
the
many
workplace.
cons. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just the cons definitely outweigh the pros.
Right.
So, for instance, nowadays, I'm going to quote this from a DenverPost.com. They say, Kate and Doug Hickey had two employees at Honolulu-based coffee grower Sun Shower Farms, a supervisor and subordinate, who began a relationship in 2013. They had the couple sign a contract saying that if the relationship ended and they couldn't work together comfortably, one would have to resign. I think that's a good thing. Right? I think that is a good thing because not only is the company kind of backing themselves up.
Right. They're being proactive.
They're being proactive about it, but also it comes to the same idea, hey, they understand that there could be conflicts because it's common.
Right.
You see, it was very surprising to me to even know that employers are doing that today.
Right. And I think one of the other things that I discovered through the research was that a lot of companies are not proactive, which
Right.
is very unfortunate. And it seems to be that they're kind of wrestling with the legalities of being involved in their employees' personal lives. Where is that boundary between personal life, employees' personal life, and the company, and ensuring the livelihood of the company? And a lot of these employers would much rather kind of stick their head in the sand and avoid anything until, unfortunately, you have a huge fiasco on your hands, or you have other issues at play, instead of being proactive like this company did from that article. It's great. That's a great idea.
It's an awesome idea.
And also in that article that, we were reading about how few companies are being proactive. In that same company, it was saying, or I'm sorry, in that same article, it was saying that in a 2017 survey of human resource management professionals, 57% of them responded saying that they had engaged in a romantic relationship at work.
Dun, dun, dun.
Right? That's a pretty high percentage.
That is, believe it or not, 57% is more than half.
Right. That's crazy.
You know what I mean? Oh, my goodness. I didn't know it was that high.
I didn't either. And I guess maybe it's specific to different industries, obviously.
Yeah. Okay,
you don't hear about that, say, for example, in your job, because your job is mostly males.
Exactly.
Not to say that those relationships could not occur. However, it's not as prevalent as you would in an office environment.
I totally agree with what you're saying. All right, so I'm going to quote this research that we had from theinsider.com. I found it super interesting, and I wanted to share this with you guys, because I didn't even know this word existed. Like there was an actual term for it.
Right.
But all right, this is the quote. This could be a genuine romantic connection blossoming, or it could be something called vicinity attraction, where you start to have feelings for someone simply because you've spent a lot of time together. That's not to say it's a less viable way of starting a relationship, but you might want to take a step back and see if the relationship also works outside of the office before you commit to something. That's very interesting.
It makes sense to me. I didn't realize that there was a term for it, but it makes sense. If you think about nurses and doctors, for example, working in close proximity, how many times do you hear about nurses dating each other, or doctors and nurses?
I can see that.
I think it comes down to, the vicinity aspect, but it also comes down to commonalities.
Yeah, I can see that.
Right.
I can see it happening, but everything that would have to happen in a normal work environment would still have to take place. You would still have to be attracted to them.
Right.
Because that just doesn't develop out of nowhere.
I don't know. Some people might say otherwise.
See, I don't know about that, because you still have to be attracted to them. Mm-hmm. You still have to have common stuff. Whether you work with them a lot or not doesn't mean that you have common interests.
Well, the common interest would be the job.
Right.
Right, those commonalities.
Right, I get that, but that's not going to fuel your relationship for the next 20 years.
Well, and that's what this article was saying, that you need to take a step back.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, so...
See, we went around the bush, guys, but we came to the same point afterwards.
Yeah, we did. We definitely did. But I found that very interesting.
Right.
Vicinity attraction.
Yeah, I had never heard that term before. It makes sense. It makes perfect sense.
It does make sense. Mm-hmm. And it's very interesting.
Yeah.
So that kind of supports like a little scenario that I have that I've actually seen or experienced actually recently, still ongoing.
Oh.
So I'm going to share this with you real quick.
This is not you, is it?
No, it's definitely not me.
Okay, just making sure.
No, just hold on tight because you're going for a ride. Anyway, it's not really, but anyway. So I've got a coworker. I'm just going to call him a coworker, dropping no names. So I got a coworker. I've known him for about a year now. Mm-hmm. He's a superior. Okay. He's a superior. He came into the office that I work at probably about a year ago, and really cool guy
Okay.
initially, right? Because initially you want to be the cool guy. I've noticed something changed about him. Okay.
Is he smiling more?
I don't know if you would say smiling more,
Oh.
but he's been acting a bit different, and like myself and my other peers couldn't understand why until we started putting some things together. And one morning, I go into work. I show up at about 10 minutes earlier than normal.
Oh, snap.
Okay.
What did you find?
I parked a vehicle. Right. I'm going to paint you a picture here.
Okay.
I parked a vehicle. I was sitting there on my cell phone.
Okay.
All right.
Texting me, right?
Yes, okay. Texting you, saying that I made it to work. Exactly. Checking in. Anyway, I parked my vehicle. It's dark outside. I've got tinted windows.
Right.
Can't really see in, but my headlights are on. I'm painting you this picture.
Okay.
And then, next thing you know, this SUV whips around the corner and stops by the door.
Okay.
And I'm like, whatever. It's just somebody dropping somebody off. Come to find out, it was the supervisor being dropped off. I was like, that's really weird considering he's a supervisor with a supervisor's vehicle. So I watched the vehicle go back around the way it came and then went behind the other side of the building, which was inside the yard there at the power company.
So obviously someone that works there.
Another employee.
Interesting.
So I kind of put a pin in that. So I went inside, did my business, went outside, and then I saw the vehicle.
Right.
Parked over on the side.
Where the employees park, right?
Yes,
okay.
Where the employees park. And I was like, oh, okay. About 10 minutes later, I looked to see who got out. Female. That works for the company.
And not another supervisor.
No.
Oh.
It's actually, she is a coordinator. Same company, slightly different job, working out of the same office.
Oh, does she work directly for that supervisor?
It's, there's this little...
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
But in the same office.
Yeah, in the same office, and still works with him.
Right.
Okay.
And they obviously know that what they're doing is frowned upon, or else she would not have dropped him off the way that she did and then tried to skedaddle.
Exactly. So I put those pieces together, and it made sense of why he changed, why he had changed there recently.
Well, how is he acting?
She would do, like, presentations, and he was standoffish, wouldn't even look over at her. This is when I started putting things together.
Right.
And prior to that, he was all like, I guess you would say flirty, but weird. Just kind of that.
So it's like he was
cringy,
being extra standoffish, so that
extra standoffish, which is trying to throw people off, but it doesn't throw people off. It makes them suspicious. Anyway,
right.
Things changed. He's a different person, especially around that female.
Wow. Creating tension in the office, and it's just
creating
awkward
tension and all that stuff. I mean, the potential for so many things to happen, at this point outweighs anything that could happen.
Right.
So.
Yes. So in my situation or my scenario, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
This occurred at a previous job. And I'm not going to say which job or where. I don't know names. No names.
Right.
So there were two individuals in my office that were dating.
Okay.
This was that proximity, the vicinity. They were literally in the same office.
Okay.
Did the same job. They were a pair, a team that did the job that they do.
Okay.
I can't get more specific than that, but and they started dating, and they tried to do it covertly because it was definitely frowned upon in the office.
Right.
And he eventually got another job in the same location, but out of the office.
Promotion?
So, kind of.
Okay.
Kind of. So they weren't directly working with each other. They worked under the same large umbrella, but they did not work directly with each other anymore. Everything was great. They were engaged. They were going to get married. And then all of a sudden, I noticed she comes in and she looks extremely distraught. And I looked at one of my other coworkers. We knew, we're not blind.
Right.
And I asked her, I said, hey, is everything okay with you and so? And I noticed she didn't have her engagement ring on.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
Yep. And of course, they broke off their engagement. I didn't get into details about why or what happened. And again, not my business. But I noticed any time that he had to come in and interact with our team, she was it just was awkward.
Yeah. You
could feel the tension in the room, and even people that did not know that they had previously been an item could tell that there was tension.
Right.
And it was extremely obvious and very awkward, and it wasn't anything that they did intentionally. They weren't rude to each other. They were very cordial to each other, very professional, but you could just feel that tension and you could see it on their faces. It's unfortunate, but I really can't think of any situations where I've seen office romances work out.
No.
You know what? We're going to put up a poll on our Facebook page.
Okay.
We're going to do that. We're going to put up a poll on our Facebook page, guys. And we want you to comment if you think that office relationships are good or not.
Right.
And if you have been in a successful office relationship, we want to hear your comments.
Yes.
Yeah. Change our minds, guys.
Definitely change our minds. As always, we're going to give you our advice and our thoughts. Mm-hmm. We gave you a bit of our thoughts. We do not think it's a good thing.
Right.
We think that the cons outweigh the pros, big time. It is so outweighed on one side.
It's just risky, and there's just too many bad factors. And again, we're not saying that it's 100% of the time it's going to turn out bad, but especially if you work in a small office, or if you work somewhere where your reputation is at stake.
From like a legal standpoint, from the business side, I mean, most employers, I guess nowadays, do not look at it as a good thing either.
Well, because they have to protect themselves, which is completely understandable. If you have a hostess and a waiter dating each other, and then the male gets upset because she's talking to customers or vice versa, and then you lose two employees because they can't function at work together anymore. It's a liability. It's a huge liability.
Yeah, huge liability.
Mm-hmm. We would love to hear your thoughts on this, guys. If you, again, we're going to put up the poll, but if you have had a successful office relationship, if you've seen it firsthand, we would definitely love to hear about it. And, who knows, we will talk about you on our future podcast if you'd like, or if you'd like to be anonymous, you can definitely send us a message.
A message, yeah, of course.
And let us know you'd like to stay anonymous, and we can do it that way too. So, about that giveaway.
That giveaway.
Yes.
Yeah. So, it's super simple, guys. Mm-hmm. All you got to do. It's an entry thing again.
Yep.
You have 3 chances to enter. Mm-hmm. Okay, super simple. All you got to do, go over to iTunes, subscribe.
Yes.
Boom, 1 entry, done.
Super simple.
Then you get 2 entries for rating and reviewing. Mm-hmm. Rating is 1 click. So is subscribing. It's crazy.
Super easy.
Yeah, super easy. We're going to be releasing the details of this giveaway here shortly on our Facebook, so make sure you stay up on that.
Yes.
If you aren't following us on Facebook, make sure you're doing that.
Yes, all of the contest will close on Sunday night, so make sure you get on it and subscribe and rate and review to win a special prize pack that we will be disclosing later.
Right.
But it will be something fun. You could use it on date night, or you could take yourself out.
Yeah, exactly.
Date for one.
Exactly. And be sure, because you're subscribed.
Right.
Because you are going to subscribe. You need to subscribe.
Right.
You need us. Anyway,
we need you more than you need us, but that's right.
We need you. Anyway, next week, Finances.
Super important episode.
Super important episode. I highly recommend to stay tuned for that.
Yes.
Going to dive into all kinds of different suggestions,
tools.
scenarios, tools, stuff like that. Got all that planned out. And also, we have this new video series releasing next week. It's like a 4 or 5 minute videos.
Right.
On like little tips that we got. Like for instance, like date night. How to deal with your significant other's family. You know, just tips, tricks,
So
however you want to say it.
As you can imagine, guys, these videos are pretty humorous.
They are. It's 100% humor but 100% seriousness. You know, it's hard to kind of mend the two of them, but we do it successfully.
Did you get that? It was 200%. Guys.
It's 200%.
Yes.
Yes. With all that being said, thank you all for listening, as always, for the support and whatnot.
Yes. Please make sure that you subscribe, enter the contest, interact with us on Facebook. We love hearing your feedback on Facebook, and all of our other social media platforms, and definitely be on the lookout for our upcoming videos. We really love interacting with you, so please be sure to subscribe, like, share, do all of those other fun things. We definitely appreciate it, guys.
And until the next one, y'all take care.
See you later, guys.
See ya.